training. We are recording this, and the purpose of recording it is so that you can go back and play it back after this session. So at the end of this session, you're going to get an email from us that says, survey questions and stuff like that. What'd you think? And most importantly, you get a copy of the recording. So you guys can go back and play this back if you want. You can share it with your colleagues, that sort of thing. So again, my name is John Meredith, and I'll turn my camera on so you can put a face to a name. So, like I said, I'm with Sumo here. I've been with Sumo about 1.5 years as a trainer. I have been teaching since about 1982, so I'm going to keep doing that till I get it right. I am actually in my attic, so if you look behind me and it looks like an attic, you're right. I'm the crazy instructor who teaches in the attic. I am based out of my home in Bedford, New Hampshire, in the United States, on the East Coast. So that's basically where I am. I've typically lived all over, including San Diego, California, Seattle, Washington, St. Louis, Missouri. I was born in New York, Armonk, New York, and now I live here. So just to give you a little idea. So let's see what else. I'm going to stop my streaming video just to save some bandwidth here, if you don't mind. And let's get this party started. So what's our agenda? Well, we're going to do a little overview of what is Sumo Logic. And then you're going to find that we have really 3 phases to use Sumo Logic. There's a data collection phase. Then there's the searching and analyzing phase. Then there's visualizing and monitoring. And we're going to do exercises in all 3 of those areas. So we're going to get you to log into our training environment. We're going to get you to play, and we're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to wrap it up with some, gee, where do I go for training? Gee, where do I go for resources? Gee, where do I go for things? How can, what does Sumo have that kind of helps me out? Now, having said all that, my question is, what is important to you? Is there a specific question that you have? Is there a specific issue you have? Is there something we can do right off the get-go to help you out? Because obviously trying to talk about Sumo in an hour is a bit of a challenge, but I want to make sure that before we end our conversation, if there's something you're having a problem with or some issue, please let me know, and I will sit there and see what we can do to try to help you. Okay, that's our goal. So what is Sumo Logic? Well, once upon a time, I've actually done 2 stints as an IT manager for small companies, multiple locations, but small companies. And so I used to come in the morning about an hour before work, and I would go through my logs, and I would go through my backup logs. I would go through my Active Directory logs to see if anybody logged themselves out, locked themselves out. I would go through my email logs to make sure things didn't bounce and all that fun stuff, see what kind of craziness people are emailing. And I would go through various logs. Now, had I had Sumo Logic back in that day, what took me 45 minutes to an hour every morning, I could have probably done in 5 minutes, okay? Because with Sumo Logic, you can take, for example, your operational intelligence. Are my servers up? Are my servers down? Are my services getting close to max capacity? If I'm in the cloud, how's my cloud environments doing? We have dashboards and applications and stuff that we can see here to see how my systems are behaving, okay? Firewall included. I can focus from the security perspective. Gee, where are my users logging in from? I mentioned that I was an IT manager for one of the small companies, was up here in New Hampshire. And my folks typically logged in from New Hampshire, or maybe a couple of them lived in Massachusetts. So if I get somebody logging in from, say, Kansas City, I got to ask myself what's going on there. So, and of course, if they're logging in from China, that's even more serious. So maybe they're on a road trip, maybe they're away, maybe they're dealing with a case, I don't know. But the point is that with security analytics and security intelligence, you can see where your people are logging in from, what environments they're logging in from. You can see traffic, gateway traffic, firewall traffic, to see what's happening. If people are trying to attack your ports, people are having a problem trying to log in. If somebody's unsuccessfully logging in many times, that may be an indication of somebody trying to break into your network. So we can do that with Sumo Logic as well. We can also look at business intelligence, good old business intelligence. So there we're focused on, if I'm selling products, what products am I selling? What's working for me, what's not working for me, okay? If I've got a web server, what pages are people going to? What pages are people not going to? Are they having any problems? That sort of thing. And then finally, this global intelligence area over here, allows us to look at a very high level at the operational intelligence, security intelligence, and business intelligence with you compared to other companies in your geography. So we can just look at a very high level to see if there's outages in your area and stuff like that. Now, our product works, your data, our analytics, your people. Some of you might be dealing with DevOps and you're developers. Some of you might be engineers. Some of you might be IT ops. There's a whole various role that people have and that sort of thing. And again, your data is probably in some sort of an application, whether the application is in the cloud or on-prem or whatever, you really don't care. It's just an application that you use. Might be a microservice, might be on the cloud, be a cloud systems infrastructure. Maybe you're running AWS, Azure, or whatever. You want to make sure things are running right. Maybe you're running some sort of software as a service like Salesforce, and you want to see what's going on there. Of course, we're all running mobile devices, right? So we got mobile devices, and then you got the third-party applications and various feeds. So we don't care where the data comes from. If the data basically generates logs or has some sort of a metric value to it, we can probably bring it into Sumo, and then you can see these dashboards and stuff for it. Now, what about Sumo? Our product is born in the cloud, raised in the cloud, right? We run on the cloud. There's nothing you have to provision. There's nothing that you have to worry about. If we start getting close to capacity, we will automatically scale up as we need to. Or if we're not running at capacity and we're running kind of low, we'll scale down. You don't have to worry about that. Again, maybe some new hotfix comes out. You don't have to worry about that. We've taken care of that for you. That's the beauty of cloud-based products. You'll find that our product has a bunch of machine learning. We also have some application programming interfaces, which is nothing more than a fancy word for people can use their applications and make hooks or connections into Sumo Logic, or I can also use in Sumo Logic, make hooks and connections and other things like Microsoft Teams, like Slack, and those sort of products. Okay. We have a bunch of advanced analytics as you learn more and more about Sumo. And then this box right here, our security monitoring, is probably the most important box of our product because we use a great deal of rigor and a great deal of discipline, and we maintain our SOC 2 compliance. We maintain our PCI compliance, our HIPAA compliance, and all these things. And we get these things regularly audited to ensure that we're maintaining our compliance. Now, one thing we've recently done over the last year is we have become FedRAMP modified, authorized. So they call it certified, they call it authorized. So we are FedRAMP modified. So for the US government here in the United States, that's just another achievement. So and we maintain all those things. Like I said, we've got a whole host of folks that support those programs, make sure that we are maintaining our compliance, our security, that sort of thing. Now, I'd mentioned that we are going to focus on 3 phases of Sumo Logic. And these are the 3 phases of Sumo Logic. 1, data collection. We've got to have data coming into Sumo in order to be able to search, analyze, have dashboards, all that stuff. So that data collection phase consists of creating collectors. Collectors are nothing more, installing collectors. These collectors are nothing more than little lightweight Java applications that will encrypt your data, compress your data, and send it to Sumo. Now, if you're on the cloud like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, you don't have to worry about those collectors. They're already there. They're hosted collectors. They're there. And so all you've got to do is set up your sources. What's a source? Well, a source might be like, for example, if I'm on my computer, maybe I'm running a web server. So I want to see my web server logs. Maybe I want to see my host metrics, my CPU utilization, my disk drive activity, stuff like that. I can see that. That would also be a source. Again, if I'm on the cloud, I want my S3 bucket. I want my AWS CloudTrail data. All those sort of things, we can use those as sources. Now, we are not going to today show you how to set up a collector. It takes a lot longer than an hour, probably about an hour to go through that conversation. But I want to go through other things as well. So the point is that we have an admin class where you can learn how to set up collectors and sources. What we will do is we will look at those collectors, we will look at those sources, so that my goal is when you leave today's 1-hour session, you're going to be able to go into your environment, take what you've learned, and immediately apply it and see what kind of data and stuff you have. Now, Once we got data coming in here, then we can start to search and analyze, right? We can start using our various operators, our search operators, our metric operators, and things like that. We can start building queries, start getting our results. We can take those results and we can convert them into charts, bar charts, line charts, map charts, all kinds of different charts that we can in fact create. We'll then take those charts and we can then start creating dashboards. A dashboard is nothing more than an interface where I've got a multitude of different panels which represent a chart. So bear with me a second, let me go back. So here I have a dashboard. That dashboard has this panel, this panel, this panel, this panel, and this panel. Each of these panels represents a query. This is telling me my top 10 systems that are, CPU utilizations. This might be telling me in a pie chart here what applications are being used. So each one of these panels represents a query. So if I go back here, we build queries that, again, we turn it into some sort of a visualization and then add it to our existing dashboard. And you'll also find that we've got a whole host of alerts and stuff that we can in fact use. So a whole host of alerts. So when things get too high, too low, we can be notified, we can be proactive rather than reactive. So those are the three phases that we're going to focus on. And if you don't mind, I am going to send for you guys a little PDF document. And this little PDF document, it's called the Sumo Logic Welcome Webinar. It's uploading right now. You guys can download it because here in a few minutes, you're going to log into our training environment and we're going to do some things together. We're going to look at our data collection. We're going to get a chance to build a little search query. We're going to be able to build a little dashboard here. Those are some of the things that we're going to do in this 1 hour session, which we have 45 minutes left. So let's log into the training environment. If you would, please bring up your Google Chrome or Firefox browser. And in the URL, type in service.sumologic.com. That's service.sumologic.com. The next thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pick a 3-digit number, anywhere from 001 to 999. I want you to pick a 3-digit number. And if you would, type it in the chat box. Because you're going to take that 3-digit number and you are going to log in your email here. You're going to log in as Training Plus Analyst along with that 3-digit number at sumologic.com. So think of a 3-digit number that you like. For example, I always have students in the UK. Darned if somebody doesn't pick 007. There you go. I live up here in New Hampshire. New Hampshire, the area code for the state is 603. It's a small state. So the area code is 6. So I might grab 603. So pick any 3-digit number you want. 123, 695, whatever you want. I don't care if it has symbolic meaning to you or not. And just type it into the chat box if you haven't already done so. And then you're going to log in as an email address of Training Plus Analyst with that 3-digit number at sumologic.com. Now, after that, you're going to type in a password. The password is capital SECURITY, numeral 2, numeral 1, exclamation mark. That is our current password. Now, I'm going to take this information, if you don't mind, bear with me a second. And I am going to copy it in the chat box because sometimes it's easier to copy and paste than to type. So let me paste that information in. Additionally, I am going to put in here my contact information. Why am I putting my contact information? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, our passwords change every month. So currently, right now, this is our current password. Security21 exclamation mark. July, the password will change. Usually it changes on the first Monday of the month. However, the first Monday of the month in July, by the way, is a holiday in the US. So it'll probably change the next day. But the point is, if you want to know what the new password is in July, feel free to reach out to me and I'll gladly share it with you. Okay. Our training environment is an open environment that you can use, that you can play with. So let's see what we're doing here. Let me go ahead and bring up a Google Chrome browser here, a new tab. I'm going to type in.
John.
Yes, sir.
sorry to cut you in between. I actually tried to log in with the credentials which you pasted here.
Yeah.
It's saying your account is locked.
Okay. Try a different number then. Pick a different number and try a different number.
So in the email
In the
plus.
email, that's correct. So here, let me give you an example. Let me log out. Let me make sure I see what you see. So here, you can log in. Bear with me a second. Training, +, analyst. I'm going to grab 603, my usual, here, at sumologic.com. And I am going to type in the password. Well, that was the old password. So let's type in the new password here. Okay. And I'm showing the password so you can see it. But you should be able to type in training plus analyst with that 3-digit number that you picked at sumologic.com. Now, if any of you get that message that you pointed out, that means that that account is locked. So many errors, it locks itself. And so you can't use that password. You got to log in a different email number. So pick a different 3-digit number, log in as a different account. Although, quite frankly, if you want, you can use 603. I just found out that that account works fine. So
Yes,
you can use
it actually worked for me right now.
Great.
It worked for me.
All right, excellent, excellent. Okay. So the point is, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to get logged in here. I'm going to log in with my account. And let's do a poll here to see if we're all logged in. So just bear with me a moment. And the polls are open. If you would, let me know if you're able to log in successfully or if there's a problem. Okay. Just so you know, I've got about 20 of you logged in. Life is good. Nobody's not able to log in, so we're in good shape so far. And that's 20 out of 29 people. That's pretty darn good. I understand that sometimes work gets in the way while you're trying to do these 1-hour workshops. And I feel for you. I understand perfectly. Been there, done that. So I can sympathize with you. Okay. Good news is nobody appears to be having problems. And I thank you very much. Again, it's got to be a 3-digit number, not a 4-digit number. Okay. Now I'm going to end the poll. And I always, whenever I do a poll, I'll share the results so you see what I see. I want to be transparent here. Okay. And it looks like 20 of you are in with any problems. One person copied and pasted and it works. So life is wonderful. I am glad to see it. Okay. Great. Excellent. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing that poll. I'm going to put that poll away. By the way, while we're on the poll subject, I've got another poll here for you. What is your experience with Sumo Logic? So again, my polls are open. Let me know. I'm my first time Sumo Logic user, beginner, where would you categorize your skill level with Sumo Logic? And I expect many of you to be first time users. Okay. So what I'm seeing here is, about 20 of you are first time users, and that's about what I expect. I expect the vast majority of the class to be first time users, and that's fine. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. And again, I'm going to share the results so you see what I see. This is what we typically expect. So that's fine. You're in the right place. That's where we're going to go. And let's see, one more thing here. Another poll here for you, and this is the last poll I'll do. And that is, what will you be using Sumo Logic for? And you can select as many of these as you want. I'm just trying to get a sense for what you are wanting to do with Sumo Logic. So pick the areas and you can pick as many as you want. There's no wrong answer here. So just trying to get an audience or an idea of what you guys are focused on, what your interest is. Because obviously that will help me as I go through this stuff to focus on stuff that might help you. Okay. All right. I'm going to end that poll. I'm going to share those results with you. So a lot of folks are interested in monitoring and troubleshooting. Some next areas of operations, next area of security. And that's pretty close to what I typically see, that sort of thing, those 3 areas. But again, just nice to know what people are interested in. Okay, I'm done with the polls now. Thank you very much for participating. And let's go ahead and let's talk about something here real quick. I have sent you this PDF document. In other words, I posted it up in the chat. Hopefully you all downloaded this document, and we're going to walk through 3 activities. So we got 3 activities here that we're going to walk through, and we're going to look at our collectors and what data we might have to play with and all that fun stuff. Okay. And then in activity 2, we're going to create a little log search, and we can actually take this code and we can copy it, and you'll find we can paste it right in. So we'll walk you through that. And then last but not least, in activity 3, we're going to take this code that we create, we're going to save it, and we're going to make a dashboard out of it. Okay. And kind of show you how that works. And then, of course, the final thing in this document has some other information that you might be interested in. We have an onboarding checklist that you can go ahead and get a sense for. There's a link here for our training. All of our documentation about our product can be found at help.sumologic.com. I'll show you other ways to get there. And then, of course, if you got anything else you need, you can contact our training team at training@sumologic.com, or you can reach out to me since you've got my email address. Okay. Where is the URL for the PDF? The PDF should be in the chat box. However, if you came in late, it might not be there. So I'll put it up there again. How about that? So just bear with me a second while I do that. I'm posting it up again. There you have it. So everybody should be able to download it, should be able to get it. Life is good. While you're doing that, I'm going to go through here and make sure that you guys all have your microphones enabled. So if you want to ask a question, you can.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. But again, we're hopefully all logged in. We're hopefully all able to do these exercises, and I'll walk you through the exercises. So just bear with me a second. Let me go back to my slides for just a second here. So I said we're going to do this kind of in order. We are going
Hi,
Excuse me,
John.
sorry, I don't see still the PDF document yet.
Yeah, we don't see the document here at
Okay.
all.
Hang on, let me try it one more time. Now, it's possible that some of you may have problems trying to download it. I just posted it back up. Do you see it? And I sent it to a panelist and attendees. So everybody should be able to see that PDF document.
No.
It's not showing up.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. What may be happening is the version of Zoom you have and your company policies may not allow you to grab documents. So I know some of you got it, but the point is I will take the code that we use and I will take the things that we do and I'll walk you through all this. So the point is you don't necessarily need the document. Okay. So bear with me. I appreciate you guys pointing it out and I will gladly try to help you out. So data activity here, and I'm not going to go to presentation mode, but data activity, I said the first thing we have to do is we have to look at our collectors. So again, you all logged into Sumo, I hope. And so you guys, I know a couple of you pointed out, I can't see the document. Okay, I'm not sure why, but I suspect there may be some policy on your, if I can email the document, I will. I will see if we can email it back to you guys. Right now, I don't have time to generate that email. Sorry. I will send that email to, I will send that document to you via email when we wrap up the class and we send you the recording link and all that good stuff. Okay. I'll ask Tran to do that. All right. So here I am in Sumo Logic. You guys all logged in earlier, right? You all logged in here. Now you may have a bunch of tabs open over here. This left side may be open. It may be closed. Let's talk a little bit about the Sumo Logic interface. This is our training environment. So here in our training environment, this area over here to the left is the navigation pane. And if I want to open it, I can click on this hamburger menu or stack of pancakes or whatever you'd like to call it. Don't ask me why I call things after food. It's probably not a healthy conversation. But once I open this up, I can see here's our shared library where we and others can see things, folders which contain things, documents, dashboards, queries. I'm sorry, dashboards and queries, not necessarily documents. Here's our personal folder. And your personal folder is where you can save things in your personal folder. And you can also, if they're in your personal folder, if you want, you can share them with others. So that's kind of neat. This area right here is your favorites, and this is your recents. And when we have a little more time, we can go through the fundamentals class or whatever, we'll talk about the favorites and the reasons. Fairly simple. Down here at the bottom is our main menu. So here I can, if I click on manage data, which is what they want us to do in activity 1, manage data, go into collection. These, ladies and gentlemen, are our collectors. And I can collapse these triangles here, which are my collectors. And if I want to, I can filter and search for a particular type of collector. According to the PDF, it wants us to look for OKTA, OKTA. And if I filter for OKTA, I see here's a collector, here's a collector. And if I open up any one of these collectors, I see the sources that make up that collector. So you can, I can, we can, you go into your Sumo Logic environment, you can go to manage data and collection, and you should be able to see where your data is coming from. What kind of data can I report off of? What kind of data can I deal with? That sort of stuff. I hear a microphone or two open, so if there's questions, please ask. Otherwise, I suggest you may want to mute your microphone if you can. Okay. All right. So activity 1, what we wanted to do here is we wanted to see what our collectors are. Now, for when you take the fundamentals class, and I'll kind of show you what that stuff is, another way of seeing your collectors is I can go and create a new log search. And I can ask that this is my log search interface. We're going to get into this in activity 2, but I can type in a star, which basically says, give me everything, right? And when I do that, over the last 15 minutes, I have 761,000 log entries. These are my various log messages. And they come from all kinds of different sources: web servers, authentications, firewalls, all kinds of different sources. So what I want to do is I want to organize them by source. So I can type in a pipe, which means I have an additional command I want to run. And I can say I want to count by, and we have a metadata tag in our product that we use quite extensively. That metadata tag is called source category. And if I run this, now, because I told it to count by source category, here in my messages, I still have my messages. That hasn't changed. But under my aggregates, because I'm doing a count, it has aggregated by my source categories. Out of these 727,602, 15 are from this source. 3,396 are from this source.
So quick question, when you're doing these searches, is it case sensitive to
Okay.
match?
Good question. The answer to the question is most of it is not case sensitive, except if I use a where clause. Okay.
John,
use
can
a
you
where
please
clause,
show
right?
the count by this particular command? How did you get if you can do it from the beginning?
Understand. I just typed in the star so I could get everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then I typed in a pipe, which means I have an additional command I want to run. Okay. And then I typed in the command count by, and then we have a metadata tag called source category. So down here, if I look, there's a field here called source category. Now, again, I apologize. If you took our training, you know that we've got certain metadata tags you can use: source categories, source, and all that stuff. What I'm hoping to do here is I'm hoping to give you some code example that you can go back to your company with. You can open up a new log search here, and you can do exactly what I did. In fact, I'm going to put the code right here, code snippet. You can copy and paste that, and it should run on your company's Sumo Logic environment. And then you can see here in your aggregates tab, where's your data coming from? And by the way, this is one of the first exercises we do in our fundamentals class. By the way, I'm going to add one more thing to this. I'm going to sort it so that it's sorted in descending order. Now, obviously, in other classes, when we have time, we explain exactly what these commands are, where you can find these commands, all of that good stuff. Okay, we show you all that. Although I am going to take a moment here I'm going to paste this code in. So you guys have it. And again, this is now telling me where my messages are coming from. So I can see where my data is. So therefore, I know what I can query. Okay. So let's say that I want stuff out of my labs AWS automatic load balancing, ALB. I could start a query with underscore. And by the way, when I start the underscore, I get choices. I want source category equals labs / AWS / ALB. And I can then see results, and then I can start filtering and start doing other things. So I'm just trying to get you started here a little bit with regards to some of the stuff that you can see and some of the stuff that you can use. That was the purpose of activity 1. So again, in activity 1, we wanted you to see your collectors both by, or at least the goal here was to see them by going to manage data, going by manage collection, and you can see all of your collectors and you can see the sources underneath them.
John, I wanted to ask one question.
Sure.
Which it is just out of curiosity, which programming language is this following, this particular software?
It's
application.
Yep, I understand. It's following a proprietary language that we wrote, but that language is very much like SQL. Not exact, but it's very much like SQL. Now,
Okay.
let me answer your question another way. If I go in here to my main menu, you'll see there's something here called help.
Mhm.
And if I click on help, we have our product documentation.
Mhm.
And so if I go into my documentation, since I was looking at my collectors, it takes me to my collectors. But in here, under search, the search chapter, under the search cheat sheets, under the log operators cheat sheet, here are the various operators, the various aggregation operators, search operators, parsing operators, and things that we use. So this is here for you, and I'm going to copy this URL, and I am going to paste it and put it in the chat box. Okay. So there is that for you all. And we also have metric operators. And if you wanted to, you could go into our documentation, go up to the search box and search for metric operators. And lo and behold, you'll see that there it is, metric operators. And here are our metric operators. So if you're doing a metric query, use metric operators. Doing a log query, a log search, you're going to use log operators. It's that simple. One other thing I'm going to show you. The first chapter here, the Start Here chapter, if you open it up, you'll see that in here we have something called Quick Start Labs and Tutorials. And here in our Quick Start Labs and Tutorials are a series of hands-on labs that will work in our training environment. So if you sign up and eventually take the fundamentals class, here are the labs that we do in those fundamentals. And you can take the code that's in here and copy and paste it right in and go through that. So one of the resources you have here, ladies and gentlemen, is our product documentation. And by the way, I'm going to go back to this and I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it into the chat box. I'm going to try to give you, there's that URL for where our code examples are and the labs that we use in our training. Okay.
Hey, John,
Sure.
basically, when a company is using it, a firm is using it, their software or their codes might differ from what you have currently, right?
Perhaps not. I wouldn't say it's going to differentiate too much.
Okay.
Because here's the deal. They're going to send logs into Sumo Logic. They're going to send metrics. And how we query that information is using our operators.
Okay, even though the company is using, the software, but eventually all the data which will be flown in to them
Yep.
would be coming through your cloud. Is that what we are trying to understand here?
All the data coming from your systems, all the logs and stuff like that is going to come into our Sumo Logic environment, or more importantly, your company's instance of that Sumo Logic environment. And then you're going to query it using our standard languages, our standard operators, and things like that.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So thanks for asking. All right. Somebody else put something in. I presume
John.
that. Yeah.
Sorry, it was me. So I presume that because we have all logs in Sumo Logic, if you use the operators and variables, it will be easy to extract a ranking of about the screen. So what screen is more used in our SaaS system, I presume. It's easy to do that, right?
Okay, I understand your question. Okay. And again, I appreciate the questions. But give me a second here and I'll get you where you want to go. Okay. Obviously, the goal of, and anybody who's a developer who writes code says, I'd rather not write code. And I get that. So the point is, one of the things in our main menu here is we have an app catalog. And based on the applications that you're running, whether they're AWS, whether they're Salesforce, whether they're Azure SQL, whether they're Box, whatever the heck they are, we have some pre-built applications that you can install and connect to your data so that you can get the information that you want to out of a specific application. And so you can actually install these apps and hopefully they get you somewhere between 70 to 90% of what you need. And you didn't have to write anything. This all came with the queries and the dashboards and everything built for you. All you had to do was install this. Okay. And by installing it, you can add it to your library. The only thing is you got to specify where that, the data is coming in. What did you call that data? What is that data being called? So it can connect to that data and populate those dashboards. All right. So hopefully that answers your question or gives you a hint of where to go and saves you time and all that stuff. Now, don't mind, I want to get on to activity 2. So here in activity 2, and again, we have a bunch of metadata tags that we use. Source category is one of our favorites because that's when we create a source, we give it a source category name. And we usually name it as a big entity. So is this my prod environment, my dev environment, my QA environment? And then specifically underneath that environment, what subassembly is it? My web servers, is it my authentication servers, what? And then underneath that slash, what am I talking about here? So these are my access logs in my Apache environment on my labs system. So you can name things. Typically, when you create source categories or your administrator creates source categories, you can name things so that it logically shows you where this stuff is coming from. Okay. And again, your best practices, you guys are probably not going to create these, your administrators are. And if you are the administrator, I suggest you come back to our admin class so we can talk about this in more detail. So I said there's 2 ways we can see the collectors, right? You went into collectors, right? We went in here to main menu. We went into manage data, collectors. Option 2 is I ran this little query right there. I gave you that query. So that's activity 1. By the way, we've got about 18 minutes. So let me get to activity 2. So here in activity 2, in activity 2, I'm going to take this code and I'm going to copy it in the chat box. So for those of you who can't get the document, there's the code. And I'm going to open up a new log search. And I'm going to paste this code in. And you should be able to copy it out of the chat and paste it right in here. Now, what is this code doing? It's going into our Apache Access logs, getting the data from my Apache Access logs, and it's filtering for only the word Mozilla. So it's basically showing me only records that contain the word Mozilla. I get any records that contain Safari or Edge or what, I won't see those, just Mozilla, okay? Then it's going to parse out some fields, URL and status code. In fact, let me comment out these fields. To comment out a field, I put 2 forward slashes. The field is commented. I can add a space. I like a space personally, but that's just me. 2 forward slashes. If you want to comment out a bunch of fields at the same time, a bunch of lines at the same time, if you're on a Windows keyboard, you hold the Alt key down. If you're on a Mac keyboard, you hold the Option key down. Your cursor changes to a plus and drag a line down. Whatever you type, i.e. 2 forward slashes, automatically get applied across all of those lines. So when I run this, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing my log messages from my Apache logs, and I'm seeing the word Mozilla. Every one of these has the word Mozilla in it, okay? In fact, if I comment out this section, so here's where my query is. Here's my time range of what I want to look back. Down here is my results. So looking at my Apache Access logs over the last 15 minutes, I got 7,332 log messages in here, okay? If I bring this comment back in by getting rid of the comment symbol and I run it, I've only got messages that have the word Mozilla in it. I've gotten rid of some of my messages. I've got 5,618 messages. Now here, my pipe means I'm going to do an additional command. So it's continuation, if you will. And then I'm going to parse out using a parse anchor. That's what the syntax is. And I'm going to parse out some fields. So it's going to go through these and it's going to extract out some fields for me, my URL and my status code. So when I run this, and again, we explain this and, you know, all that stuff. If I got, you know, a 3-hour class, obviously we can explain this in much more detail. So now it's grabbed my status code and my URL from this message, extracted it out. Okay. And then if I want to here, I can filter and I can say, you know, I only want to see where my status code starts with a 5. Okay. So right now I've got 5,472 results. If I run this with the status code matching 5, I am down to 62 results. So I'm only seeing those status codes that have a 5. Now, for those of you who may recall, a 500 is I think a server error or a client error, I can't remember which, but I got a 500, a 501, a 502, a 503, that sort of thing. Normally, if everything works on a web page, I get a 200, status code of 200, means everything worked, but I'm filtering that out right now. And then if I want to, I can count my different status codes. So again, that count is going to create this aggregates tab. And I see out of my 59 messages, 46 are a status code of 500. 13 are a status code of 503. If I take this filter out where I only see status codes of 5 something, and I rerun this, I comment that out, rerun this, now I'm seeing all my different status codes. And again, I've got 5,150 messages, log messages, 3,774 of those are 200s. Everything worked. So as you can see, I can very quickly create code to see where my problems are. And this last line is going to sort it. Now, I did not specify ascending or descending. Okay. By default, if I don't specify it, it will do it in descending order. If I want to be more precise, or I want to put it in ascending order, I type in ASC. Or I double clutched on that. That's why I'm getting a little red symbol. DESC is descending order. So, and you could, if you want to, go into our help documentation, and you could look for the sort by command. So if I go in here, sort by, and again, you can read the documentation and information about the sort by command or the parse command or any of these other commands. So here's the syntax, here's the rules, here's some examples, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So in activity 2, we created a little query here that we think is kind of nice, kind of important. Now, in my aggregates tab here, you'll notice I can run this and see the data. I can also create a column chart, bar chart, or column chart, a line chart. Maybe I want to create a pie chart or a donut chart. I can certainly do that. So I'm going to select for activity 3 when we build the dashboard. I'm going to select this pie chart, and then I want to add this to my dashboard. So I'm going to click add to dashboard, and I'm going to call this my HTTP 5XX errors chart. So let's call it chart. And then the dashboard, I'm going to type in some name so that I use a unique dashboard name. Again, this is my Apache web server information. And I'm going to put my initials in here just to make it easy for me to find something. Okay. And I could put other things in here if I want to. But the point is, I want the option to create a new dashboard with this name. So I'm going to create a new dashboard. I'm going to use the new dashboard interface. So we've got a legacy dashboard interface we use, but we've got a brand new dashboard interface, and I'm going to show that to you. Since you're all new to Sumo, makes sense to show you the new stuff, right? So I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to click add, and now this creates for me a new dashboard, and here is my dashboard. I can go in here and make this bigger. I can make this smaller. I can do whatever I want. I can go into this this query here if I wanted to, and I could edit it. I can change its settings. I can change its properties. I can even modify the JSON that makes up this visualization. So lots of things that you can do in this environment. Let me cancel out of this for a second. Let me go back to my search. Let me go back and change this so I can see my tabular data. Here's my tabular data, right? I just clicked on this icon. And I can then add this to my dashboard as well. Again, 5XX errors, numbers, that's good. And then I want to put it on the same dashboard that I previously had. So I believe I called it Apache something JWM. I don't have to be exact. Actually, hold on a second. Oh, heck. Tell you what. Bear with me a second, please. Okay, got it. Okay, as I start typing in, it found my dashboard that I want to put this on. So I'm going to select that dashboard. I'm going to click add. And now it's gone back to this dashboard and it's added both of these. And again, I can make them bigger or smaller as I want to. If I want to, I can add another query in here, or maybe I want to add some text to explain what's going on. So hopefully you get a sense for how easy it is to create this stuff and how easy it is to use Sumo Logic. But obviously there's still a little bit more detailed stuff that we have to go in here. Okay. You know, learning how to build a query and all that fun stuff. But again, you should be able to, I should be able to create a query and also do some things. So again, some query, the query syntax and how this works as far as filtering and aggregating and formatting. You'll find in our product, we got some really neat advanced lookup stuff. So we got a geo lookup that you can use which is going to allow you to convert IP addresses to latitude, longitude, countries, so we can display them on a map. We've got an outlier function, which displays some stuff in an outlier graph, which shows us when we have outliers. We got predict functions. We've got log reduce, log compare, which again, these are advanced analytics that allow us to combine our log messages. So I can sit there and see when I've got a number of errors, a number of log entries I don't want to go through, I can combine them. So I've got 362 of this type of log, 219 of this kind of log. The numbers obviously tell me where my problems might lie. So we've got log compare. Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt you. If you get some time, can you show the live trail?
Can I show the what?
The live trail, like how to see the live trail of a server
Live tail.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, I can do that. So let me finish this up. So in activity 3, as I said, I went in here and created my dashboards. Okay, and then if I want to here, one other thing, I can go out here if I want to on my query, and if I want to here, I can create an alert. Okay, and so down here I can schedule this, and I can define that I want an alert. Now I want to schedule this thing run every hour, or usually whatever my time frame is here. And if a condition is true, if I've got errors, please just notify me. So you and I can do that. Now, somebody asked me to run a live tail. Okay. So I can, you can, we can go in here to live tail, and I can click live tail. Live tail shows me data as it's coming into Sumo Logic. So I can do something like this. Source category equals, and then again, I can say lab/Apache/access, hit the enter key. And now as data comes into my environment from the Apache access environment, I will see it here. There we go. There's some data. And I can see those messages from my Apache access environment. Now, the only reason that this has value, in my opinion, is if I set up a collector, if I'm an administrator, I want to make sure once I set up that collector, that source, I want to make sure I'm seeing this data. I'm getting data for this source, this collector. So this is just showing me that it's coming in. And if I want to, I can highlight certain things, like maybe I want to find all the 200s. Maybe I want to find anywhere where it says HTTP. Maybe I want to find the word get. And again, this is all case insensitive. It'll find it whether it's uppercase, lowercase, or whatever. I could also say, you know what, I want to see that Apache access, but I only want to see those that have the word Mozilla in it. And I'm sorry, I can't spell Mozilla. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. Actually, let me make it Safari. I can spell Safari. Okay. And so now when I run this, it should only show me logs and information that have the word Safari in it. Okay. So you can, again, this live tail lets you see data as it's coming into Sumo Logic. And again, to me, the only people who really want to know this or need to know this are people who set up collectors. They want to make sure their collectors are working. The data is coming into Sumo. Now, one other thing about LiveTail, only 10 people can run LiveTail on a system concurrently at a time. So it's not something that people use a lot of, but the administrators and the people setting up sources do use them quite extensively. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, no problem. Thank you. One other thing I want to do, we got about 4 minutes left before I open it up for questions and stuff. Here in my tabs, on my home tab here, you'll see under the home tab, there is a learn section. And in this learn section, we've got a bunch of micro lessons that we have out on YouTube. You can actually go out to YouTube and search for our micro lessons. But these are quick little 5-minute videos on how to set up a collector and how to do various other things, how to create a little search. And so you can, I can, we can see that stuff. Also, we have our hands-on labs for fundamentals here, our hands-on labs for administration there. Here's a link to those cheat sheets I showed you. Here's a link to our documentation. And one other place I want to take you out to is our community. So we have, and by the way, to get to the community, it's support.sumologic.com. And then you click on community. And that will take you to the Sumo Logic community, which is where us, our partners, our customers all interact. We also have a Sumo Dojo Slack channel that you can also subscribe to if you happen to be running Slack. Now, in the Sumo Logic community, if you type in the word slides, SLIDES, you'll find it will give you a link. And this link has, for all of our courses and all of our workshops, it has a link to those labs. It has a link to a recording of this class, just like the class I'm doing right now. It's a recording that you can listen to. And it also has our slides. So you can play our slides and get a sense for what we do. But the point is, if you want to learn a little bit more about querying, you can maybe take the fundamental certification recording here, or you can take the search mastery certification recording here if you want. Or as I mentioned, you can also go to our training environment, and it's basically sumologic.com/learn/training. Again, I'll give you this one too. Forgot to put the other one in there. I will in just a second. Okay. Just give me a second here to go back and take this and paste that in our chat box. So again, I'm just trying to give you all kinds of links, all kinds of resources here. But here is where you can see what classes we have, when we have them, and sign up for them. So for fundamentals, I can click on register and I can see when this is being offered. For North America, here are the times. For APAC, there's the times. And so we're about ready to put August's schedule on there as well. So I hope that makes it easy for you to go from this point forward. Where do I go next? Obviously some training, obviously some hands-on, anything that we can do to help you, we want to do that. So what questions have you? I'm scared.
Fantastic presentation. No question. Just needs to invest time to work.
I understand. And it's like driving a car, right? You need to practice. You need to play. You need to go out there and again, see how it works and take the thing out for a spin, right? Kick the tires and all that. Or
I'm very impressed. Look like very easy to extract all information from logs. I'm very impressed.
It is,
congratulations.
But like any query language, it does require a little bit of finesse in that query language. So, but it is a very powerful tool. And I hope you guys enjoy it.
I enjoyed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right,
Thank you so
folks. Somebody asked, how long will we have access to the training version? As long as you have the valid password. So if you need the new password, send me an email, okay? And I'll give you the new password. I don't know what that password is for July yet, but the point is, as long as you've got the username and you've got a username and you've got a password, you should be able to access this. So you can use this as long as you want. Okay. Keep in mind the passwords change every month, but you can reach out to me to get the new password. Any other questions? Well, then on behalf of myself and everybody at Sumo Logic, I want to thank you for attending. We look forward to seeing you in class or seeing you around. Please be safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was very great presentation.
Yep.
Thank you so
My
much, John.
pleasure.
Thank you for
No
the time.
problem. Yep, my pleasure.
Thank you,
Somebody
John.
asked me to resend the login credentials, so bear with me. I'm going to go grab them and copy and paste them again real quick. There we go. So let me paste that stuff back in. Whoops. There we go. And again, I will put my contact information in here. Yep. By the way, you can find me on LinkedIn if you want. You want to link up, that's fine. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a great day. I hope you had a wonderful time. Hope to see you soon. Be safe.
Thank you, John. You too have a good one.